Recording? Are we recording? Okay. Hey, I'm Genevieve, and I am currently on a journey to rediscover myself through art. I was talking to a colleague today about making art for the sake of making art. I work in the creative field professionally, but in the corporate world, it's really easy to get stuck in that mindset of needing everything to be perfect. Everything that you create needs to be perfect, especially if you come from a creative production or graphic design background. It's really easy for your mind to get stuck on the idea that, you have to nudge that image over just like 3 pixels in order for it to line up correctly, or you have to follow specific brand guidelines, right? And unfortunately, the mental transition to traditional art can be really jarring because of that. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that area and end up forgetting that art doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, imperfect art is probably what we're missing in the world more so than not. There is a time and a place for technical work, but there's even more room for untechnical, truly genuine creative work. I'm putting all this into words, into a video because 1, for me to just get my thoughts out, but also 2, maybe this helps somebody else out. Inaction is worse than failing. Just starting on a personal art project is much better than not doing it at all. Inaction is worse than trying something and failing at it. Let me repeat that again. Inaction is worse than trying and failing. Especially when it comes to art, we're literally just creating something out of our own genius mind. And there's no harm in trying, but there's more harm in not allowing your creativity to come out. Make selfish art. Nowadays, I believe we get stuck in that constant thinking about how other people perceive us, especially in this world of the internet, social media, all that, right? Whether you intend to or not, more than likely, there's still that little thing in the back of your mind that's telling you you have to make or post the perfect thing for other people to see. And because of that subconscious thought, we end up making art or content, for that matter, that ends up pleasing other people rather than pleasing yourself. And that goes back to the whole perfectionism thing, right? Like, because your design mind wants things to be perfect, but also the pressure from outside sources adds to that desire to make art that isn't actually serving you, but serving others. Allow yourself to play. It's not work. Allow yourself to play and forget the idea that it's work. Make art for the sake of making art. Make art to play. You're not making art because it's work. You're making art because it's for yourself to enjoy the process and whatever the final product ends up becoming. Especially if you're already in the creative field of work for a big company or whatnot. It's much more important to find playfulness and joy when creating personal art projects. In other words, just don't take it so seriously. It doesn't have to be that serious because it's not work. It's a hobby at this point, and maybe down the line it becomes something else, and that's great, but right now it's not. Until then, just play. It can be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. And that brings me to the next point. Art does not have to be complicated. Enjoy the process. You don't have to create a masterpiece the first time, especially if it is a new medium that you're working with. Paint the basic flower, crochet the smallest pattern that you can find. Start with just a simple line drawing or sketch. It really does not need to be complicated. Just create. The more you create, the more it becomes a habit, and the more it just becomes familiar to you. Lastly, have the courage to be disliked. Now, this one's hard. In order to create selfish art, you have to have the courage to be disliked. In order to truly make art that feels genuine and true to you, you have to find the courage to be disliked. Be okay with the fact that not everybody is going to like what you create. But also remember, there is more than likely, in fact, there has to be somebody else out there that genuinely also enjoys what you make. And that's how you really create authentic work. There's actually a book out there called The Courage to be Disliked. And if you want to go more in depth with that concept, I highly recommend reading that. So in conclusion, make selfish art. Do it for you. Allow yourself to play, and you owe it to yourself to just start. I hope this inspires somebody, and I love seeing other people's works. So leave your handles or your website or whatever in the comments and share the inspiration. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.